Okay, so have you ever thought about like how we tend to put historical figures up on a pedestal,
Yeah.
like way up there?
Right.
And it's interesting because we do that, but then we have like amazing people all around us all the time, and we don't necessarily see them the same way.
Yeah, it's true.
So that's what we're diving into today. We're looking at this whole idea of a living prophet.
Hmm.
And what that really means is specifically, we're going to be looking at a talk from 1973 by A. Theodore Tuttle,
Okay.
and it's called What is a Living Prophet?
Catchy title.
Yeah, so to start off, I'm curious, like, what actually makes someone a prophet?
Well, Tuttle's really clear about this right off the bat. He says it's not a self-appointed position.
Mm-hmm.
It's not something you decide for yourself. It's about being chosen by God.
So it's not like you wake up one day and you're like, I think I'll be a prophet.
Right? It's more like God sees something in you, potential you might not even see in yourself.
So you're just going along, living your life, and bam.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then there's this higher purpose, this calling that's placed upon you.
So it's not just about wanting it or even just being a good person. It's something bigger than that.
It is. And Tuttle even quotes scripture to emphasize this. Ye have not chosen me, but I have chosen you and ordained you that you should go and bring forth fruit.
Wow, that's powerful.
It is.
Okay, so we've got someone who's been chosen. They're called a prophet, but does that mean they're just delivering messages like some kind of divine telegram?
That's a funny image.
No.
But Tuttle says it's more than just delivering messages. It's about providing understanding.
Oh, so it's not just about the words themselves.
Right. They're like teachers helping us grasp God's will and apply it to our own lives.
Okay, I like that. So it's like, if you think about a tour guide, you could walk around a historical site with a guidebook, right?
Sure.
But a good guide will give you context, tell you stories behind the facts, make it all come alive.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's the difference between just having information and actually understanding its significance.
And I think that's where the role of a prophet really comes in, guiding us toward a deeper meaning.
It's about connecting to something bigger than ourselves.
Okay, so all of that makes sense, but then Tuttle says something kind of strange. He says it's easier to believe in prophets who are long gone.
That is interesting, isn't it?
Yeah. Shouldn't it be the other way around? Shouldn't it be easier to connect with someone who's here now?
You'd think so. But I think what Tuttle's getting at is that a living prophet challenges us more directly.
Oh, how so?
Well, with historical figures, we have the luxury of distance. We can kind of pick and choose the parts of their message that resonate with us.
We can romanticize them a bit, like we were saying earlier.
Exactly. But a living prophet is right there, offering guidance that might make us examine our lives, our choices,
Yeah.
even when it's hard.
It's like, okay, that person back then, they had it all figured out. But this person right here, right now, they're asking me to do something difficult.
It's about stepping outside our comfort zones, and that can be really hard.
And that's where that challenge comes in.
Right. It's about being willing to grow and change even when it's uncomfortable.
So it's not always easy or comfortable to have a living prophet.
Not always,
Yeah.
but it's in those moments of discomfort that we often experience the most growth.
It makes you think about how we respond to challenges in general, right?
Definitely. It's about being open to new perspectives, even when they challenge our own.
So how do we handle it when we come up against those moments where the counsel just doesn't make sense to us? How do we deal with that tension?
Yeah, and Tuttle even uses this phrase, a living prophet is not a comfortable historical figure.
Right. They're not just a name in a book. They're a real person
Yeah,
with real expectations.
and that can be intimidating. Like if it's someone from way back when, you figure, okay, they had it all figured out.
It's easier to admire them from a distance.
Exactly. But when it's someone who's here now and they're saying, this is the way, it's like, whoa, hold on a minute.
Yeah, it's immediate. It requires something of us.
So then what happens when we get that counsel that just doesn't make sense to us?
Well, Tuttle talks about the risk of rejecting counsel.
Oh, yeah, because he's
Word.
coming from a faith perspective,
Yeah.
right? Right. And he's saying, look, it might not always make sense to us in the moment,
Especially in the moment, right?
right? But there's often a bigger picture that we just can't see.
So it's about trusting that there's more to it than we realize.
Exactly. And that takes a certain amount of faith to say, okay, even though I don't get it, I'm going to trust that there's a reason for this.
It's like trusting that the GPS knows a better route, even if it looks like we're going the wrong way.
I like that analogy
Yeah.
because we've all been there,
Right.
questioning the GPS.
Oh, totally. But sometimes it takes you a back way to avoid traffic or something.
And in the end, you get to your destination faster.
Exactly. So with this whole idea of current scripture, which I love that phrase, by the way.
It's powerful.
It is. How do we know we're interpreting it correctly? Like, words can be subjective, right?
That's so true. And Tuttle emphasizes this too. He says we need to be careful not to just impose our own interpretations on what's being said.
So it's not just about reading the words, but about seeking understanding.
Yes, and that's where personal revelation comes in. Tuttle talks about the importance of taking the time to ponder, to pray, to really seek confirmation within ourselves.
So it's like a dialogue, not a monologue.
Exactly. We're not just passive recipients of information. We're active participants in uncovering the truth.
That makes me think about how we approach learning in general.
How so?
Well, it's like in school. Sometimes we just try to memorize facts. But real learning happens when we engage with the material, ask questions, and that's how we grow.
And I think that's what Tuttle is encouraging us to do with current scripture, to approach it with that same spirit of inquiry.
To be curious, to ask questions, to not be afraid to say, I don't understand.
Exactly. Because it's in those moments of seeking that we often find the greatest insights.
So we've been talking about the challenges of following counsel, about the importance of seeking personal revelation, but what about the positive side? What are some of the benefits of having access to current scripture to a living prophet?
Well, one of the biggest benefits, in my opinion, is the sense of hope and direction it can provide.
Like a roadmap for our lives.
In a way, yeah. When we feel lost or uncertain, the words of a living prophet can offer a beacon of light, a path forward.
Especially in today's world where there's so much uncertainty, so much change. It's like having an anchor.
It's about knowing that we're not alone in our struggles.
Right.
That there's someone there who understands and who can offer guidance.
Okay, so yeah, that makes sense. But then there's that other part of Tuttle's message where he talks about the importance of actually following the counsel, even when it's hard.
Yeah, that's where the rubber meets the road.
Exactly. It's one thing to say, okay, I believe this, but it's another thing entirely to put it into practice.
It's about aligning our actions with our beliefs.
And that's not always easy.
No, it's not.
No.
But I think that's where the real growth happens. When we step outside our comfort zones and challenge ourselves to live by the principles we believe in.
So it's like we're saying, okay, I'm going to walk the walk.
Right, not just talk the talk.
But that can be so tough sometimes. Like, where do we even begin?
It starts with those small, everyday choices.
Right. It's not necessarily about these huge life-altering decisions all the time.
Exactly. It's about being intentional in the little things.
So like what? Give me an example.
Well, take something as simple as being kind. Tuttle talks about how a living prophet's words should inspire us to be more compassionate, more loving.
So it's not just about following rules, it's about becoming better people.
Yes, it's about letting those teachings sink in and change us from the inside out.
Okay, so it's about making those small but consistent choices.
Right, and trusting that those choices will add up over time.
That's building a muscle.
Exactly. The more we exercise our spiritual muscles, the stronger they become.
And that takes effort, right? It's not always easy to choose the right thing, especially when we're tired or stressed or just feeling lazy.
It's not, but that's where discipline comes in.
Discipline and maybe a little bit of grace for ourselves when we fall short.
Absolutely. We all make mistakes. The important thing is to keep trying to keep moving forward.
So it's a journey, not a destination.
Beautifully put. It's about striving to become our best selves, aligning our lives with the principles we believe in.
And remembering that we don't have to do it alone.
That's so important. We have each other, we have our communities, we have the guidance of a living prophet.
It's like we're all in this together.
We are. And I think that's a really beautiful thought. That even though the world can feel isolating at times, we're all connected. We're all part of something much bigger than ourselves.
And on that note, this has been such a thought-provoking conversation. Thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive into the idea of a living prophet.
It's been my pleasure. It's always inspiring to explore these ideas and to see how they resonate in our lives today.
And I think that's what it's all about, right? Taking these concepts and making them real, making them relevant to our everyday experiences.
Absolutely. Yeah. Because that's where the true power lies in the application.
Well said. And to our listeners out there, thank you for joining us. Keep those great questions coming. And until next time, keep seeking, keep exploring, and keep diving deep.